Oh, hey guys, let's do Baron with no jungler. Oh god. Oh, what? How did he steal it? Where's our jungler? Oh fuck. Oh god. Oh, at least Imp gets kills. Okay. Kappa. Why, hello there, and welcome to another Dyrus VOD review. In this video, I'll be going over the IEM San Jose TSM versus LGD Game 1. In these picks and bans, the biggest thing to note is that TSM first picked Tom Kench. This is one of the hidden OPs for Worlds and is definitely a huge priority pick. As for team comp scaling, we can kind of see that both of these team comps scale pretty similarly. The only thing that is pretty much out of ordinary for scaling is that Renekton gets outscaled by Fiora, but at the same time, Gragas does a little bit more than Rek'Sai later in the game. As for all the other counterparts between Jinx Anivia and Cass Trist, it's still pretty similar scaling, but we can also see that TSM has a better team fighting comp for CC and, just getting good ults off, while LGD is more of a solo play kind of comp where the only plays that can be made up is from Alistar and Rek'Sai. In this game, you'll see that I skip throughout the video a lot because I want to go over the key points and make you guys understand why things happen and why, players get ahead, why players fall behind, or why team fights were won and lost. Um, if I last remember watching this game, it was a pretty, back and forth game for a long time. So I'm going to try and just get over the key points. And if you guys ever have any questions, you can ask me in the comments below. And if you would like to watch the full game yourself, I will leave it in the description below. With that being said, the main thing to note in this game is that Flame wants to dodge Hauntzer because the Renekton versus Fiora matchup is not very favorable for Fiora. Even though Flame doesn't want to go against Hauntzer, Flame was forced to TP bottom and wasn't able to buy any potions, while Hauntzer gets the back and buy a Doran's Blade and a couple potions into a lane where Fiora's lane is slow pushing. What this means is that Flame immediately needs to call for his jungler because he's going to be gankable within the next 30 seconds if he doesn't push in all the way. Even though he has blue buff, he will probably have no chance against Renekton Gragas without his jungler. Otherwise, he'll be frozen on and he'll be forced to lose a lot of CS. Right here, we see that Hauntzer and Dennis, we're going to call him Dennis because I can't say his name, is pressuring bot lane because the lane is pushing towards Hauntzer. He has item advantage and he's Renekton, and he has the potential chance to freeze it on him. So if Flame doesn't get any help here, or if Flame doesn't back off, he's going to lose a lot either way. We can see here in the first gank, Flame didn't back off, and now we see Rek'Sai here, but Flame makes the rookie mistake of not waiting for his jungler, something that I commonly do a lot. Right here, also, the Bjergsen TP was unnecessary, and it will probably make him lose a lot of CS for no good reason. On the bright side, for TSM, Hauntzer gets a kill and is going to probably have a good chance to snowball his lead. A couple minutes later into the game, the lanes get reswapped again, while TSM wants to match lanes, while Flame does not want to really match lanes. But he can still kind of farm depending on jungle pressure, so it's not like an impossible lane to deal with, but it is very unfavorable. Right now, Renekton has the upper hand on Fiora because of the kill. Gragas is going to outscale Rek'Sai slightly. Anivia, Bjergsen is actually losing in farm, probably because of the TP bottom. And as for bot lane, they're just pretty even because they've been 2 versus 1ing all game, and they've just been last hitting and trading with each other without killing each other. So really, really a close game overall still. In this next point, we see Bjergsen get egged, and which kind of baits the enemy team, and Hauntzer gets a really good combo on Imp in the back line. He didn't have any summoners, or he wasn't able to survive, and Hauntzer had like Titanic Hydra at that point, so he just did a bunch of damage. He got 2 kills. Because of this, they get the first mid-tier turret, and they might actually get the second one. I don't know. Um, this point is really big because Renekton getting fed will really, determine the flow of the game, because Fiora will never be able to fight Renekton one-on-one, and in team fights, Renekton would just be so much more useful with these 3 kills. On top of that, he's going to be picking up a wave top, and L LGD is going to be losing a wave bottom, or they already lost some farm bottom and they lost bot turret. In terms of towers, TSM's already up 2 to 3 towers. Actually, 3 towers, which is extremely huge. Here we can see the replay what happened. So they overcommit on Bjerg. Haunter gets the really big stun on Imp, and Imp flashes out way too slow. That was actually like a really dirt moment. So the thing about these first games is that these players are better than they look right now. It's just that on stage, everyone plays really bad on the first try on stage. Like it goes for vice versa. Um, Playing for the first time on stage for our first game is basically a warm up for players usually if they don't get to scrim against other teams. I personally think that's really big, but not a lot of teams actually warm up with other teams by scrimming them, and that's why you'll see the quality of these games go down slightly. But moving on, it looks like TSM's in the driver's seat, and right now all they want to do is choke LGD out and just build small leads with the Renekton advantage. On this clip is the next big point. TSM gets a big chunk on Rek'Sai, while Haunter's trying to get a chunk on Alistar, but takes like 3 tower hits there. 4, 5. Ouch, that sucks. So TSM needs to be careful here on overcommitting, because Rek'Sai is going to come back with full health while Double F is low mana and Haunter is beyond low, so they 100% can't fight this. Cass also has Zanya's, and we just see 2 people flash into Cass, and yeah, TSM's probably, yeah, they lost this fight. I remember watching this. Imp gets bursted by Bjerg. That was a really good burst. The biggest thing to note there was that Haunter took 5 tower shots, so what TSM needed to do to adapt was just to back off. You lose pressure and it kind of sucks, but it is better than losing 4 people. They might lose. Okay, they're probably getting aced here. So yeah, getting aced is pretty big because TSM was in the driver's seat, and now like that's pretty big for morale too. Like that was a pretty that was a no-brainer. Like anyone on the team could have been like, I'm really low, I need to back off. So I'm gonna pause here. I'm actually gonna pause here. We can see that Haunter was really low, and then they flash into the Kassadin with no Zanyas. Yeah, there's really nothing to say. Like all you gotta do is back off. It was kind of Haunter's fault for taking 5 turret shots, but at the same time, after that, anyone on the team could have said back off because Haunter's low, like anybody. Um, and the other thing is they also flashed into Kassadin, and usually when Kassadin gets Zanyas, it's called out. So that was also really big too. That was one of the reasons why they got aced. So even though they got aced, they built such a huge lead that they're still in the game. Well, they're still in the driving seat. It's just a little bit harder now because LGD's late scaling is pretty hard to deal with. At this point in the game, we can see that Haunter is pretty chunked, and LGD starts Baron. I don't think this is the right thing to do because Gragas is in Smite steal range, and this is just going to be a fight. This is pretty much a YOLO, like 50-50 fight where whoever does more damage or whoever mechanically plays better is going to win. And it looks like TSM came out on top here. Haunter going ham. They're going for Alistar. So the biggest thing to note here was that LGD should have never started Baron, and because they started Baron, they lost some people. Even though they're kind of in control of the game because Fiora beats Renekton now, or I mean, I think Fiora beats Renekton now because that's just how Fiora works late game. Even though Renekton has an item on her, they can just play off of the split push of Cassid and Fiora and not have to force team fights. And when the enemy team forces stuff, they can just collapse with their split pushers. But in this scenario, whoever called that Baron should probably not do that. So this was a pretty big point. Here, look at this again. Dennis gets really low, and Haunter gets good combo on Flame. Like they're tanking Baron too. Double F's just killing everyone. Kasing tanks properly. Beard throws out spells like Haunter gonna trade 1-for-1 here. Probably worth. Could have potentially been more kills. So, yep, that's it for this point. So at this point of the game, Fiora does still beat Renekton in 1-vs-1 still, but Renekton does still do more in team fights because of his CC and the amount of HP that he has. What LGD wants to do is 1-3-1 and try to like push outside lanes as far as possible, use their split pushers to get as many advantages as possible, while TSM wants to just group up and siege. Because with Anivia, they can just wall off, they can Gragas ult off and zone people in their team fight. And actually, now that I think about it, TSM's team comp is actually far superior. It's actually pretty hard for LGD to win unless TSM messes up. So we see a pretty close fight here. It's lagging a little bit. Double F gets insta-killed by the enemy carries, which is pretty bad. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know how they lost that. It's just a crazy-ass fight. What I'm assuming what happened is Double F didn't use either of his summoners and was just in a really bad spot. And now LGD is going to even up the game with that. So when I was on TSM, this is one of my worries, like overstaying or like just throwing the game. I can see that the two biggest points that TSM made for mistakes this game was not backing off at the right time. And, well, actually, wait a second. LGD doesn't have their jungler here, so yeah, that's free Baron for TSM. I don't know. LGD's biggest mistakes here is calling for Baron and throwing, and TSM's biggest mistakes right now is overstaying and throwing. So now that I'm watching this in-depthly, I can see why people called it a clown fiesta. Yeah, we're just gonna move on to the next point. So now that TSM is respawned, and they have Baron, they want to siege with the Baron minions and use the bottom inhibitor to their advantage. They want to play around double lift and protect double lift from Alistar, and what LGD wants to do is flank double lift, because if they kill double lift, that's pretty much all of their damage. Renekton still has damage and Nivea has damage, but Jinx is the main person that's going to clean up, and it's the same for Tristana. Tristana can kill frontline just as fast too. So Fiora and Cass both, like everyone on their enemy LGD wants to dive onto double lift. If they kill double lift, then their team fights will go easier. But right now they're just slightly behind. But because TSM threw so much, they still have a chance of winning this game. So trying to dive double lift. Kasing protects double lift. So double lift's still alive. It's still okay. Everyone else is kind of just like cannon fodder. And Flame gets Alistar killed. Okay. And double lift's alive, so double lift's winning. Now that they got inhibitor, they can just back off because LGD has a base spawn home guard, so they gotta be careful for that. Um, so they didn't back off again, so double lift is dead. Um, yeah, that I guess it's a hard call to make, backing off. I don't know what to say. At this point, there's not really much more to review. I'm just gonna go towards the end and see where they lost, because it seems like it's just mostly throwing at this point. Oh, there's Demon. Um, so I guess what happens here is they group up again for the fourth time, and they they siege with creeps, and they're going for the inhibitor. And now we're just gonna wait to see what happens, because this seems to be the last point in the game. LGD has a better late game team comp, but it's all up to Alistar and Rek'Sai doing what they need to do, and Fiora and Cass diving onto double lift. So if double lift dies, they win. If double lift lives, they lose. And Beer is like the entire TSM comp just helps double lift live. I mean, they still all do damage too, but the biggest point is double lift because he does lots of damage in each jinx. Alistar fucked up really bad there. What Alistar should be doing is trying to get a flank better and not diagonally. And Cass insta dies. Cass did not use Anya's, did not use Flash. So they chain CC'd onto Kassadin really well. Or Cass fucked up. And that's game over. Cass dies and TSM wins. So that was a very interesting game. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed my VOD review, and we'll see what happens for the next one. Thanks for watching.